Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report. Let's go. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a long work week, but hopefully you guys are prepared for a long weekend. Whether you guys have the weekend off, whether maybe sadly some of you guys actually have to go back to work, you know what I'm saying? You got to be on that grind. Either which way, I'd like to try to think that this will make your Friday a little bit better, depending on when it comes out, of course. And hopefully it starts your weekend off right, no matter what you're doing. So hope you guys are going to be all right. Take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. And let's get to this bacon, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, what do we have on the menu for you today? Oh, yes, we have bacon, as usual. Let's see how we're going to go ahead and carve that bacon up. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with one of our favorites, Snort Burnell, DSP Gaming Retrospective Fundraising, this Saturday, that's tomorrow, lying about Street Fighter 4 tournament. Oh boy. Okay, so how do we work this? Okay, so first things first, the retrospective stream is tomorrow. Now, obviously, as a cute pup in a sharp suit who delivers you guys the news, always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you guys can't count on, I'd like for you guys to at least understand where your outlets are. Not really understand, but know what those outlets are. So, you have the choice, and I'm only saying this for posterity's sake, by the way. You have the choice of going to DSP's actual Twitch. They call me DSP, or is it just Darksydephil? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You have Phil's Twitch channel. You can go to that shit, or you can hit up Praise Be Almighty Tevin. Go to his stream. Hopefully he'll be broadcasting it. If not, you have Dark Dave Mirrors, another friend of the channel. You guys, he's guaranteed to do it. So, so you can go there to watch it. Or I'm not sure if he's doing it or not. But you also have Lightside Bill or LSB, who's been moving his way up in the ranks of streaming lately. Well, not lately. He's been grinding for a while actually. You have LSB and Rocky, who might be restreaming it as well. So those are your four choices. Really, it's just three, but those are your four choices for posterity's sake. So no one can ever say that I didn't take a shit on Phil. Actually, it was nice enough to kick some dirt over him when I was done. Now, with the concept of the retrospective stream, what is that, ladies and gentlemen? What the hell is Phil's retrospective stream? It is literally 10 plus years, almost 11, of self-masturbation. That's pretty much all it is. It's Phil going back and watching all of his old content for money. Sadly, he may or may not pick something that has been recommended to him, but he won't do it on the fly. He has to screen it first before anything else. He doesn't want to have a debacle like last retrospective stream where someone made a fan request, he played it, Phil didn't screen it properly. It's early. And because of that, a begging segment popped up in there that allegedly never happened and shouldn't have been there. Whatever. In any case, that's what the situation is with that. They are gradually getting boring because he's not playing what people want him to play. Now, in truth, this is me giving a bit of advice here. For these retrospective streams, he really should do... He can go over his bullshit content if he wants, whatever. But he should have a fan recommendation. He should basically have someone who wants to pay $20, let's say $20, and gets to pick out, hey Phil, I want you to watch this Detractor's content real quick. Like, it has to be a short video too. When I mean short, it has to be somewhere between, like, I don't know, let's say 10-15 minutes. It should be something along those lines where Phil has to refute some of that shit. You know what I'm saying? He has to actually watch it, and he has to grit his teeth and bear it, and he has to try to respond to that shit. Something like that. For $25, it'll be 20 minutes. And he has to go through the whole video. He can't just go ahead and skim through and then be done. No, like, he actually has to sit there and deal with that shit. That would be dope. Phil doesn't have enough courage, and he's not brave enough to do it, but having a detractor's choice, if you want to coin it that, would be much more entertaining, but that's just my own personal opinion, of course. With that being said, I think slowly but surely he's killing off the retrospective stream. The reason why is because you need to space those things out. We're in what, May? Yeah, we're in May. We're getting ready to go into June, and we've already had what, 2 of them this year alone? You know what I mean? Like, he needs to And the only reason why he's doing so many, I should say, is because in his eyes, they're successful. But then again, why would you need to rely on one segment if everything else you do is so successful? That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. And more importantly than that, I thought the chill streams were supposed to be so, so successful and so cool and this, that, and the third. So why is this almost like a band-aid on the chill stream while going over your own content? Another thing I'd like to bring up too, just for posterity's sake of course, is Ask the King. He's been shoveling that shit over the last couple days about how he doesn't have enough questions or he doesn't have enough good questions, and if no one helps participate in that, then they're going to go away because there won't be enough questions. But didn't he say that the chill stream pretty much took place of Ask the King on top of the pre-stream? So why are you trying to hold on to Ask the King when people can just go here to ask you questions? On top of that, who the hell wants to pay Darksydephil $20 to ask a question half-assed when you could just do it on his regular stream for like 25 cents? I don't know. That don't make too much sense to me. And that's only in certain occasions. Sometimes you can get him to answer a question for free. So why is he still trying to hold on to Ask the King? But in the same way as Ask the King is about to go extinct, the retrospective stream will too. Because if Phil is going to not take requests, not take them seriously, I should say, and if he doesn't transition and try to go over some Detractor content, something interesting, something that will actually bring in more conversation, which by proxy would bring in more money, and he can go ahead and spew off his piggy propaganda or piggy psychosis or whatever way you want to call it, it's just going to die out. This isn't hard to figure out. And anytime Phil, in his own single-mindedness, decides to focus on one thing and one thing only, it almost always dies out in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, that's just my own personal opinion, but that's neither here nor there. Now let's talk about that Street Fighter V tournament. Now, Phil has been on his bullshit talking about how this content is mine, I didn't get any written permission, no one has come to me and asked for my licensing fee, this, that, and the third, you guys are criminals, you guys are thieves, you guys are doing illegal practices, and YouTube don't want nothing, won't stop you guys because they're immoral, and yada, yada, yada. Shut the fuck up. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to weave a tapestry of deceit that was performed by Darksydephil. Phil Burnell, back in his day, getting shitted on by the FGC, losing hundreds if not thousands of dollars in money matches. Most of those matches he never even paid that money. Has been a bit of a laughingstock in the FGC for a while. So when Phil, towards the later half of his tournament career, and when Street Fighter 4 started to blow up and started to really rejuvenate the FGC in some ways, he started to go into more and more tournaments, and he started taking all this tournament footage, which was going up on a channel. Well, actually on a couple of channels, but on a specified channel that I'm going to talk about shortly. And he was making quite a bit of money because he was bringing in quite a bit of views. Even quicker than the very tournament organizers who, A, weren't really up on YouTube at that time, B, wasn't really focused on their tournament footage going up, or C, just didn't know what was Phil doing. With that being said, since some of these people may or may not have been some of the same people who used to make fun of him, who used to ridicule him, because Phil's an asshole, so they're just clapping back at him, you're telling me that Phil wouldn't take the opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of the very people and make money off their back, of the very people who used to make fun of him, who used to say that he wasn't very good and then was able to prove it? The same people that Phil used to get in the money matches with and lose terribly? Or their friends, anyway. You're telling me Phil wouldn't have tried to figure out a way to benefit from the FGC, the same FGC who never saw his greatness? Who never saw that he was actually as good as everybody else that they say? But who's slowly but surely getting written out of history? Just like how the detractors through the This Is How You Don't plays are slowly but surely trying to discredit him and hide his accomplishments through This Is How You Don't play? Yeah, Phil, I saw Snort Burnell's video on that. That's coming too. That's gonna be real fun, so make sure you hold on to your pork butt for that. You really think that Phil wouldn't go to those links? You're telling me the same Phil Burnell who sat there and waited 3 years for Pro Jared, well, 5 years actually, if you go back to the Screw Attack convention, or con, whatever. You're telling me that Phil wouldn't have waited 3 to 5 years to go ahead and clap back at Pro Jared? You telling me that the same guy who tried to rip off the FGC wouldn't try to sat and wait like a cobra or whatever the fuck he called himself to go and get Pro Jarrett? You're telling me this is the same Darksydephil who, after having a fallout with his friends that was completely on his fault, it was completely all on his end, sat there and took the merchandise that they all chipped in, that neither of the other two parties involved ended up catching any money on, and went ahead and sold that to go ahead and sell the idea of the Project 7 reboot, and then use the shirts as a $50 perk, and then has the nerve to lie today and say it costs us so much money to ship them? Even internationally he's bullshitting, but he's talking about in the United States it costed a ridiculous amount of money. You're telling me that Phil wouldn't try to clap back at the very people who never saw him for his greatness or turned his back on them? You're telling me he'd never figure out a way to try to profit if he could? You're telling me that if Phil wasn't with Cat right now, and he was literally on his own and he was doing retrospective streams, you're telling me he wouldn't go over the Panda content with a little bit more vigor? You really telling me that's what the situation is? Really? Really? No. 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 And we'll talk a little bit about that as the show goes on. I've spoken enough. I really have. I've thrown a lot of heat on because, ladies and gentlemen, I already have bacon cooking. Oh, it smells delicious. Haven't had any Canadian bacon just yet, but we have some delicious bacon going on. I have some candied bacon in the oven. Everything is about to be gravy, so let's go ahead and get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. You guys all know the slogan, except for y'all can smell that bacon. Y'all can smell it, so delete your comment. Let me read your comment first, and then delete your comment. But just for posterity's sake, I don't smell no bacon cooking yet, so that means it's time to watch me work. Oh, it's so nice to be in a good mood.
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude. And I have to warn everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
Basically, whether or not...
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're here yet again with one of our favorites, Snort Burnell, Dspgaming Retrospective Fundraiser this Saturday, and lying about the Street Fighter 4 tournament. Here we go.
I can play a Plague Tale is going to depend on how today goes. Because like I told you guys, everything that I've raised in the last couple of weeks has gone straight to bills. It had to. There's been no surplus or whatever. So, today...
Okay, no surplus. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this particular point, Phil basically extorted about $700+ from the fan base. That is $700, $700+ that came from individuals who wanted to see him play Plague's Tale. That's what the money was supposed to go to. And Phil kept brushing it off. He kept taking the money, but he kept brushing it off. And so even up to this point, he has the nerve to say, oh, well, depending on how you guys come out and help me with this stream, on this stream, will depend on whether I get the Plague's Tale. He bleeded these people out for over 7 days to catch this $700+ to play this game, just so he can keep them in doubt. Now, at this particular point, he's probably playing it. At least he better. But look at how far he's going to get this money. Now, whatever his financial issue is, at the end of the day, it'll come to light eventually. I still like the idea that Cat's pregnant. There's also other frustrations that he has with, for example, wanting to get a serious offer as it pertains to these statues, which he can't seem to get. He really wants people to support Axe the King. He really needs people to come out and be supportive during this retrospective stream. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just presenting you some evidence. I'm not Nick Ricade or anything, but I'm just presenting you guys some of the evidence, some of the exhibits, if you will, on what his circumstances are looking like. And they're looking pretty bad. And since he's only bleeding them for fast money, he's only going for chump change instead of thinking about dollars in the long term, it must be something that's critical that's happening in the next about 6 months. His words, not mine. Just putting it out there. DSP News.
Hey, if I can raise enough to maybe get the game, you know, while still paying my bills and everything, then I'll get it and we'll start the playthrough tomorrow. All right. But if today ends up being a really slow day,
now that's where the trick comes into play. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think Plague's Tale is about $40. Now, he just told you right there that if he can get enough money to get the game while maintaining his regular bills, and that's the loophole, if you will, is the fact that he's trying to get as much money as possible, and then he can use the caveat that, oh, I need that for my regular bills, guys. That's why you guys are really giving me money, so on and so forth. You're telling me that out of the $700+ that he's obtained, he can't put 40 or 50 bucks to the side to get this game, to have people who want to watch him play it so he can get more money. Now he waited honestly too long to where the game is already cold to now do it, which makes no sense. And so now he's going to play a game that he's automatically assuming that was going to go bad in the first place. Like, he thought the game wasn't going to be very exciting. He was going to drop it after a couple sessions anyway. Hence the reason why, he made people go through these, basically go through these loops to give him money so he could play the game. He bled these people out on purpose. He screwed these people out of their money on purpose. On a game that in his own mind is automatically going to fail. Now, let me explain how he thinks it's going to fail. There's not going to be enough viewership, and there's not going to be enough money. Now, keep in mind, he's already received about $700+ just to play it. So now, if viewership's low, oh, I told you guys the game was going to fail. Sorry guys, I told you. And then the contributions. If the contributions are low, which theoretically it will be, being that he's already gotten about $700 from all this, people are going to feel a little bit jacked off. In the wrong type of way. So this is how he's screwed himself over slowly but surely. This is where the greed has taken over in such a way that he can't recoup. And then on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're following any of the great detractors on Twitter, you know that Bad Bunny she's not even trying that hard. She's sitting there just siphoning Phil's fan base, former mods, former pay piggies. She's living real good off Phil money. She's living real good off Phil money. I can see her over there shining. I see her over there gleaming. She smells like money. I can see it. I can smell it. And Phil don't have nothing to say about it at all, except for I think he banned her name out of his chat or some silly shit. He did something to her when she didn't do anything to him. Because she even gave some gifted subs to him the other day, and I guess, I don't know. I'm not sure what the full details are on that. But give me a little bit of time, and I'll look into it some more. But what I do know, and what is important, is that she's winning the race, and she's not even trying. Okay? For whatever reason, Phil's former pay piggies have turned into servants, and she's Cleopatra, and they're literally walking her across the finish line. And Phil hasn't said a word about that yet. But yet he can keep talking about this copyright bullshit and all this nonsense on YouTube and how all those people are toxic and that's why they're no longer on Twitch, when he's losing slowly but surely everything on Twitch. On top of the fact that Twitch has all these problems going on behind the scenes and right in their face, where people are going ahead and restreaming pornography, hentai. It's getting wild over there. If you are not watching It's a Gundam, please check his channel out. He's going over a lot of the nonsense. Memology's also Memology 101's also going over it. Shit's getting real. I think GG Reloaded is also doing it. So check that out. Shit's getting crazy over there on Twitch. It doesn't look as safe as it once was, but at the same time, because of those activities that are going on, is one of the reasons why Phil will probably not get kicked off of Twitch. Just my opinion, of course. DSP News.
Then It's not going to happen. Then what we're going to do is tomorrow, instead of a Plague Tale, we're going to do more Mortal Kombat 11.
Phil's always been a beggar. Phil's just one of the worst e-beggars. Disgusting beggar.
Oh, I saw people in the stream chat being negative, of course. Oh, there's a threat.
I'm not going to even enjoy games and put out a quality stream for you until you pay me.
This is a threat from Phil. What do you mean a threat? No, it's me being honest and from all of you. Everything you guys have been supportive with this month has gone to pay my bills, which I've needed, to keep things afloat. And I'm very grateful for that. But, some people seem to think there's some kind of crazy conspiracy behind the scenes that Phil is hoarding money and shit. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, like, everything that you guys have contributed here has gone straight to keeping things going. And so there's no surplus sitting around for me to just drop, $50 willy-nilly on a game that I may only play a few times. So, let's see how today goes.
Now, another thing I'd like to point out to you guys is because of situations like this, and you could, depending on Piggy lore and the DSP anime timeline, if you will, anime/manga, if you will, I would say a lot of this stems back to the lack of faith, and for a good reason, by the way, that was the result of the Mario Sunshine playthrough back last year. That's why you don't hear about this nonsense on Player's Choice and all this silly shit on Patreon no more. Patreon's floundering. What is he at, like 400 plus something? Last time someone told me anything about it? It's only like a week or two ago. Like, Patreon's damn near dead. Like, we're talking about Spoonie type of numbers, which is ironic because during the Escort saga, Phil was actually outpacing Spoonie by like $600-700. Now Spoonie might actually be beating him by a couple hundred. So you're seeing this shift, if you will, in Phil being at a high point, which wasn't that high because the bar wasn't set too high, to now look at him. Now look at him. He's literally blackmailing them out of money that they've already given him on good faith to play a game. He has his $40 for the game, or $50 or whatever it is, and then he has an extra, $600+ as an incentive in good faith, and he's still saying, oh no, you guys gave that to me to keep everything running. That was never for the game at all, so fuck you, pay me. Period. Oh, all those doctor's appointments I gotta take Katsu? Fuck you, pay me. Oh, you know what it's gonna take me to keep my office cool while I sit here and sweat like a pig, but I wasn't smart enough to get central air throughout the whole house because I wanted to go ahead and take my ex-girlfriend out on staycations for whatever reason after begging the week or two before that. Fuck you, pay me. You see how that becomes a problem? You see how that becomes an issue? And then he gets mad because people point this shit out. He gets mad that people throw this stuff back at him, knowing that he was dead wrong for ripping these people off of their money. He was dead wrong for doing that.
How today goes, okay?
Saturday is my retrospective marathon event. Oh my god. Wow.
That means starting around, the usual time, 10:15 a.m. and running for about 12 hours. All right? We'll be taking a trip down memory lane over my 11-year history as a content creator for YouTube.
I'm hoping that Saturday ends up being a day where people come out to support, because the last few, they've been like that. I've done this retrospective before 3 times, and every time the attendance has been high, and people have been very supportive during these retrospective marathons. Time to slaughter people, okay? Milk that fucking gravy train for as much money as you possibly can. Milk and honey, I like to say. I can't wait for the money. Let the green roll in. Is a scam. It's a money-making scam. It always was. I really need the help right now. Like, especially if that's going to be June 1st, Saturday, June 1st. And, right there at the very beginning of the month is when most of my bills come due. And I really...
Also, isn't taxes like right around the corner too? Now that I think about it, because remember, Phil allegedly pays his business tax quarterly. So business taxes must be somewhere around the corner too. Just keep that in mind, just for, for semantics.
I need as much help as I can, this month with stuff coming up. So it will be a great opportunity for people to come out and be supportive and help out. So hopefully it'll be a supportive day plus a fun day to reminisce on everything. Okay? I got the chair. Like, seriously, I'm happy I got this chair for free. If I had paid, like, $200-300 for this fucking chair, I'd be so disappointed. I'd be like, man, this is, like, not worth it at all.
FL Gibson, 97. Charity says, do you think that being a full-time streamer is similar to serving in the military? No. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. But no, what a stupid thing to say. How on earth is me sitting here playing video games on the internet anything like serving in the military? That's just a very disrespectful statement, and you should actually apologize to those who have served that you would even try to make that comparison. That's ridiculous. Shout out to Westside Rap.
Now, first things first, as it pertains to the whole restreaming thing, I want you guys to think about this for a minute. Just for a second. You know what I'm saying? Just watch your boy dig for just a minute. Phil was talking about how people are illegally restreaming him and how they're profiting from it, yeah? So Phil's retrospective stream is coming up. And it's tomorrow, actually. And so isn't it not possible, is it even plausible to some extent, that he tried to put out the pigcosis, if you will, or piggy psychosis, or whatever the case may be, or I called it gout something the other day. I can't remember now. Oh boy, I really should write these things down for shirt ideas. Anyway, is it not possible that he was trying to put out the feelers, if you will, from a sympathetic standpoint, that hey, when the retrospective stream comes up, please come and support me. Do not give money to these individuals because I really need it. And though they are rebroadcasting me and I can't do anything about it, I really need your support more than they do. So please come and support me. Is it not possible that that was one thing? Also, and what I mean by that is I'm talking about during the his MLB stream, chill stream, which turned it absolutely nuclear, whatever it was. Another thing I'd like to point out to you is because of how frustrated Phil was, knowing, in my own personal opinion, knowing that this retrospective stream isn't going to break, he's definitely not going to make 2,000 on this thing. He barely made 1,000 on the last one. Barely. He ended up spewing his gouty venom, if you will, on some of the namesayers or some of the trolls and haters that were actually in the chat, saying that, you know, almost like trying to deter them from restreaming, which seems stupid because he knows that that's not going to stop anybody because what they do isn't illegal. But at the same time, Phil is all caught up in his feelings and he's caught up in his frustrations that in some small way, he might have actually thrown out an idle threat to some of the people who restream him on the premise that, hey, you guys don't have any real rights to do what you're doing, and I need this money to pay my bills. To pay my bills. I'm sorry. I can barely say that with a straight face. And to pay my bills and to continue me moving forward. Now, let's go ahead and readjust, adapt, let's go. What Phil should have done is been like, hey guys, for all of you guys who restream me, if I end up going out of business, then what are you guys going to have to go with? What are you guys going to have to rebroadcast if I'm screwed? So this is kind of like a mutual type of situation, a symbiotic type relationship. I depend on the viewership that you guys are allegedly, air quotes, taking away from me because I need their money so I can keep going. By proxy, you guys need me to keep going so you guys can keep rebroadcasting my shit. What Phil should have said, or he should have worded it, is he should have worded it in such a way that everybody can get paid off of this. That's what he should have done. He didn't because he's an idiot and he's greedy and he's an idiot. So, so that's one of the reasons why it didn't come out right. Hence the reason why, Phil, you should really, really step out of your house more than once a week. You really should be talking to people, not the people who suck your dick online all day because that's useless, but you need to actually talk to people who are going to give you active forms of criticism that you can take to heart. Hence the reason why you really fucked up when you screwed Brightside Viking over. Just my personal opinion, of course, but if nothing else, I feel like, though I've never spoken to Brightside Viking personally, I feel like he would have been one of the few people, if not the only person, maybe besides KG, but I'm not sure, who would have been honest with you when you were really fucking up and not scared of the consequences. But that's neither here nor there, and that's just my own personal opinion. But since you have a bunch of yes men around you, you're never going to get a true opinion about anything. Therefore, you're just going to keep fucking up. That's just my own personal opinion. Because if he had somebody over there to tell him the truth, he wouldn't be doing retrospective streams so close to each other. More importantly than that, he'd be willing to expand. If, for example, detractors take his content illegally and whatnot, then why doesn't he use detractor content? Now, I can explain that already, but I want you guys to think about that for a minute. If detractors are really out here stealing his shit, breaking the law, yada, 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 why can't he use that to his benefit? Bad Bunny is. Bad Bunny's having a field day with that. Matter of fact, I think, who was it? It was Mighty D, actually. She was going over Mighty D's content. You know what I'm saying? She was just taking it all in, like a good girl. So with that being said, if she can do it and having a good time with it, why can't Phil do it? Because Phil's ego is too goddamn big. And that if Phil can't, that's not Bad Bunny's truth. That's Phil's. And Phil can't really accept that. You know what I'm saying? He can't do that. And it's funny too, right? Because if you're talking about a group of people who are allegedly all here for e-clout and so on and so forth, who massively outweigh him in views, right? What does he care if one or a few of those detractors, I should say, are featured on his stream? Who gives a shit? They're already beating you in views anyway, and in attendance. Who cares? What do you have to lose? If we're all liars and brain-dead idiots and psychopaths and this, that, and the third anyway, what do you have to lose by having them on your streams? On your retrospective stream, I should say. I'm just throwing it out there, just putting it out there. Oh, for the military. That was the last thing. Sorry about that. Phil, weren't you the same individual who one day, a long, long time ago, this is deep DSP lore, that said that you had actually gone to a recruiter office and you were actually considering on going into the military. And he was telling you everything and it all sounded real good, but you said, I'm going to take a minute, I'm going to think about it. You know, I want to kind of weigh my options. And the recruiter said, oh, it's no problem. I know you'll be back. I know you'll be back. And you sat there and got your little bacon in, all curled up for no reason, like, you know, like that extra bit of fat on your neck. And because the guy showed confidence, as what you're supposed to do in the military, because he showed confidence that you were going to come back, you were going to basically be like, oh, well, I'll show you. I'm not going to come back near to you. And never showed back up. So you had an opportunity at one time to serve your country and chose not to because you mistook confidence for arrogance. And you didn't like the idea and you didn't like the idea that someone was able to predict what your movements are before you made them. But let's talk about the real reason why you didn't go to the military, Phil. You didn't go to the military because you don't like the idea of someone telling you what to do. That's what it was. Let's talk about another reason. You were scared to leave Connecticut. You were scared of leaving that little block where apparently everybody get fired up on and shit. You know what I'm saying? Every day is rain. It rains every day in Connecticut for whatever reason. But yet you didn't feel the need to leave that. You didn't feel the need to go ahead and get up out of there. You were scared to maybe do something meaningful with your life. You were scared that you may have had an opportunity to see the world and see how other people act and interact and other people's cultures and things like that. That shit scared you. On top of that, you were scared of the fact that you couldn't just quit it right away and come back home. That's what it was. That's what really scared you about the military, Phil. That's the reason why you didn't move on it when you had an opportunity to. That's just, of course, my own personal opinion. But something tells me I'm not completely wrong. I might be wrong on most of it, but I'm not wrong on all of it. But the recruiter story is something that he's told, though. I'm sure that if you guys ask Tevin about it, praise be, he can confirm, well, if he finds that it's important enough, he might be able to confirm at least some of it. DSP News.
Haskell, who did 100-bit cheers, and where am I playing? You still haven't told me. Talk about a throwback reference meme to, like, that's like, what, 8 years ago? 9 years ago? That was very early on in my YouTube career when I had just taken off and been popular for doing videos of Street Fighter 4. And I was attending a Street Fighter tournament that was one of the worst run tournaments I'd ever been to in my entire fucking life. And they kept telling me that I was up to play in a tournament. And I would go to the tournament staff and say, I'm right here. Where do you want me to play? What station? What's going on? And they would say, oh, all right, we don't know yet.
It's all lies. It is all fucking lies. All right?
Okay, so I would walk away, and then they would yell for me again, where's Darksydephil? And I would come back and say, I'm right here. Where am I playing? Oh, we don't know yet. Like, I don't know if they were just fucking with me or whatever, but basically it came to the point where I just didn't care anymore. I was like, these guys are fucking assholes. You know, do they want me to run their tournament for them? Because I easily could do it better than what they're doing. You know, it was just a mess. I don't even remember what tournament that even was. I really don't, but I just remember it being one of the worst tournaments I've ever attended. It was to the point, I'm not even exaggerating, there was like about 40, 50 people who were so pissed off that we were going to just demand refunds and leave. We were like, this is fucked up. We basically had an angry mob of people who were like, we didn't come here to stand around like assholes while you had no idea what the fuck you're doing. You know, it is a waste of our time that we traveled out here to your tournament and you're a bunch of idiot newbies who, you know, just don't know what the hell you're doing. It's like amateur night.
So yeah, that was one of the many memes that I guess people have pulled out of obscurity over the years. So
now, before we jump into this classic piece of material, let me give you some particulars. First things first, we actually went over a little bit of this on the super secret channel, I guess is what people call it. If you guys find it, you find it. Eventually I'll promote it, but you find it, you find it. We went over something similar about this when it pertains to DSP Street Fighter, which we're going to get into that in just a second. That's going to be a bonus. That wasn't a very good secret, though, since I just told it. Anyway, Phil said that these people kept calling him to play, and he said he's right here, and they say they didn't know what to do, yada, 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 yada. What you're going to hear is something a whole lot different. This right here is Phil recording other people's fucking content. Or not content. Well, I guess you could say it's content. But other people's matches. And he was holding up the tournament because he was trying to get these matches recorded. He's holding up the tournament because, Phil, come over here and play your fucking match. And Phil's like, yeah, I don't hear you. I need to record the rest of this match first, and then I'll go over there and do it. When he could have just as easily passed the camera over to someone else, yada, yada, yada. So Phil was literally, at least with this particular tournament, he's holding it up so he can get this match footage, so he can throw it on one of his channels, so he can get that sweet, sweet ad money. That's what ended up causing shit to pop off here. But let's hear it.
Yes, please stop recording. No one gets a shit. Play. You can't hold up a tournament. Okay, if DSP to report this match is disqualified.
Where am I playing? You still haven't told me. Jesus Christ, man. Treat you like you're want me to run your fucking tournament for you?
Vote Democrat.
Yeah, man, I can hear those 40 and 50 people in the background ready to demand their entry fee back. Yeah, I heard it. You didn't hear all those O's? Each one of those individual O's was actually a person within a person, within a person. I like to call it Oception. That was so bad. But yeah, I didn't hear 50 people. There might have been only 50 people at that tournament. Maybe. I'm sure the tournament was bigger than that, but you know what I mean. So yeah, no 50 people. No, hey, I'm showing up to play. And when it's obvious that the tournament organizer or whoever it was that was running brackets was looking right at you when they were like, Phil, stop recording our fucking matches and play your goddamn match. He could have just passed the camera over to someone else, gone over there, losed, make an excuse, and then come back and keep recording. He could have done that. But see, the reason why Phil, but now, and most of you are probably like, well, GTG, what is your opinion on why he didn't do it that way? Because Phil wanted to record his own match too. And he didn't want to have half of a match from somebody else. He needed all of that, and then he wanted all of his matches too, that he's playing. That's the reason why it was like that. And he wasn't expecting anybody to call him out. That's why, under his breath, like a coward, he said, if he says that shit again, I'm gonna knock him the fuck out, and whatnot. And then the dude got loud with him, and then he tried to get loud back, coming up with some weak-ass comeback and shit. And then you heard Oception, and then that was pretty much the end of that.
11-bit cheer, and that makes Vote Democrat the top cheerer for today. And he says, you want me to run the tournament for you? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Yes, that's the other half of that meme. Vote Democrat cheered and said, you don't consider that a negative meme, do you? I don't know if it's considered negative or not.
Shouts out to Vote Democrat, by the way, too. I heard that you got banned from a Wings' chat again. I'm sure they're gonna let him back in, but I don't know why they keep banning him. Because vote Democrat is funny as shit. I don't know why Wings keeps banning him. It sucks, but he keeps going. He keeps coming back. So it is what it is. You can't hold him down. But I really wish Wings would stop banning him. It's kind of sucks. But shouts out to him on that. Oh, also, shouts out to DSP Sucks. And shouts out to LipJan. They both have YouTube channels. The links to their channels are down in the Detractor Rolodex in the my description box. But LipJan has started to put more content on their channel. And so definitely check that out. Go over there and sub. There are gems over there, I promise you. And also to DSP Sucks. Another good channel that's just kind of starting up. Some great content over there. It'll get better as time goes on, as with all of us. So check them out. Like I said, the links will be down in my description.
Something that happened. Like, I went to a tournament. It was ran like shit. I was treated like shit, basically. Eventually they disqualified me for taking a shit. I'm not even kidding. So, during this tournament, I kept asking them, where am I playing? Where am I going? And they kept telling me, oh, we don't know. So I said, alright, I gotta go use the bathroom. I went upstairs for 10 minutes to my hotel room to take a shit. I came back down and they told me I was disqualified because I wasn't there for my match. I was like, dude, for the past 2 fucking hours, I've been asking you, where do you want me to play as you call my name? I go to take a shit and you disqualify me. Well, I got a $5 tip from someone trying to basically cause drama. Yeah, what the hell? Just listen to this. This isn't even English. Ready? Didn't you tell us how you were recording footage at that tournament you weren't making? Did you pay the licensing fee? It doesn't even make sense. What they're saying isn't even like English. What they're trying to do is take a stab at what I've been saying recently about how people illegally restream my stuff that they don't have permission to, and therefore, if they were going to, they would have to pay.
So if it's not English, then how are you able to? How are you making that out? Is it broken Italian? Is it some type of variation of Polish that none of us know about? What is it then? How is it that you're able to decipher this? Do tell. Like, is Phil like the human enigma machine and whatnot, and he's able to like decipher stuff that just can't be deciphered? Is that what it is? Someone please help! Help!
Fee, much like when you play a video game, you're paying a licensing fee to play that video game and make creative content with it. But this person can't even speak English. And it's hilarious. His name is some dude, and he worded it so poorly, the insult didn't even come through. Like, I actually had to try to reword his tip in actual English so that it made sense as an insult. Doesn't really work that well, huh? Well, I'm gonna put you up on the leaderboard for the contribution, but next time if you're gonna try to insult me, at least try harder. You know, maybe try to get like a language consultant to come in and help you to formulate your sentence so that it actually is like a stinging jab at something that I've said or done rather than sounding like you have a bunch of marbles in your mouth.
Another thing too, right, is he said he was gone for 10 minutes. I want you guys to go ahead. We're gonna be petty. We're gonna be petty. We're gonna be real petty. So hold on to your hats for this one. So Phil says he had to run himself upstairs to take a shit. He said he was gone for 10 minutes. I want you to think about this. He has to actually leave the room that the tournament's being held in. He has to make his way up the stairs to get to the bathroom, which was probably about 10 minutes. He has to do what he has to do in there. Pray to God that he wipes properly. That's another 10, 15 minutes. And then he has to make his way down the stairs. You really telling me that he went upstairs, took a shit, and came back in 10 minutes? Really, ladies and gentlemen? Really? Okay. So petty. So petty.
So other people or get into this really defensive mode.
This is Mr. I'm going to go on break. I was gone for 10 or 15 minutes. He was gone for like 30. And banned people because they called him out for being gone for more than 15 minutes. Just saying.
And just be very negative and toxic.
Memology 101. I'm sure this is really Memology 101. Took me $1 and says, I hope EA learn from their mistakes and get back into publishing great games. Yeah, right?
Oh, it's so funny that Phil knows Detractors by name. It's so good. It's so good. You gotta love it.
That will never happen. At least, I don't think so. Westside Rascal cheered again. He said, I think he's talking about how you're recording at the tournament. Oh, I know what he was talking about. I know exactly what he was talking about. It's just that he was so marble-mouthed that it didn't matter. So what he's saying doesn't even apply because this tournament in particular that we're talking about was before the era of live streaming. Like Twitch TV, if I remember correctly, didn't even exist at the time.
But Justin TV did, I think.
It was still Justin TV, so there was no formal streaming process to live stream tournaments, and there was no one who was legally claiming.
What are you talking about? Justin TV was just like Twitch. I mean, it was in its early stages, but it was still people streaming over the internet. What? Ooh, lie to me some more, please. I need some more bacon. Please do.
Right? Anyone could just go to any tournament and record whatever they wanted and upload it to the internet. It was kind of like the Wild West. You know, now you go to a tournament and there's someone already there direct capturing, live streaming, and they were given the legal rights to have that footage for the tournament.
You're full of shit. Okay, so... See, I don't remember this situation in its fullest. But to make a long story... A broken story, I should say, short, because I don't have all of it now. Now I'm going to have to go and look it all back up, because I was watching it pretty close. There used to be a guy who used to do reactions to low-tier god stuff. He used to be a former mod of low-tier gods, to be honest. And they had a falling out for whatever reason. And so he was, he used to react to some of low-tier god shit, and he used to do WWE stuff. He did some variety. And his channel was getting, like, really, really big. And he started to react to Third Strike matches. Excuse me, recent ones that was coming off of this other guy's channel. I can't think of what his name is, because he's not someone who I'm that familiar with. I know who he is, I should say, but I never watched a lot of his content, because there's a bunch of other guys that I'm following currently. And anyway, he started reacting to him, and the guy struck his channel. And I can't remember what the full basis of the story was, but basically... the individual who struck the channel said, hey, I'm at a tournament, whatever. I'll be back by Monday. And then we can make all this. I'll pull the strike. You know what I'm saying? No problem. And I guess the guy kept hassling him. I can't remember and I didn't hear both of their sides of the story. And eventually, low tier guy catches wind from the actual, from the individual who actually had the tournament footage. And I guess they had the guy's channels taken down, to make a long story short. The guy ends up making another channel and says that those guys basically conspired with each other to do it. I can't remember, like I said, I don't have all the details on that. Well, that individual still goes to tournaments and catches footage. He doesn't have legal precedence to do it. He said that he actually had permission from like by Bandai or somebody to actually capture the footage, but he doesn't have legal rights over it and whatnot. And that's what he was using against this individual to strike his channel. Now, whether that's legit or not, I couldn't tell you, but that's just how, at least, I remember some of the circumstances. As it pertains to Phil, you blatantly stole these people's content. You blatantly stole these dudes' content and put it up on your channel. Now, here's the reason why Phil did it. One, as I said early on in this broadcast, he was able to. These people used to shit on him. They knew who he was. Some of these people may have not shitted on him. Most of these people may have just had friends who shitted on him. So guilt by association. That's not above Phil. Phil hates on a bunch of people because they're cool with other people. So it is what it was. But two, Phil had a leg up on them to where he could get the footage out quicker than they could. You got to understand, some of the tournaments back then in Phil's day, they started on, Friday and went till Sunday? Or maybe they started on Saturday and went to Sunday. Or maybe it's just a local that's only on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Because majors work differently. They're usually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Unless it's like Final Round, which Final Round's from Thursday to Sunday, for example. I think Evo's like that too. But like I said, we're talking about, 2010, 2011? So I'm not sure. But multi-day tournaments. So think about it this way. Phil is going to record all these matches, yeah? And then periodically go up to his room, extract each one of the matches, chop them up, put it on his channel, upload, go right back downstairs and keep recording more. Or Phil records all these individual matches at the end of the day, goes upstairs, orders himself some food, and starts cutting all this shit up and putting it on YouTube onto his channel, flooding it. He does that day 1 or day 2 of the tournament. By Sunday, Phil pretty much has the majority of the matches that he took already up online, already has ads on it, already making money before these guys even know what's what. And because Phil has a habit of recording his own matches or those of his friends, if a couple other people's matches get in there, who cares? Phil's already broadcasting what tournament he's going to be at. Most of them may have looked at it as, okay, it's publicity, it's whatever, whatever. Most of them may have not been up on how YouTube worked at that time, so they didn't know that Phil was making money off of them. And that's how Phil got him, to be perfectly honest. And then I think people on SRK, Capcom United, and Event Hubs, someone got, and SRK itself probably got slick to what Phil might have been doing, and that's when he started getting pressure, which is eventually what drove him out of the FGC. At least one of many reasons, I would guess.
It used to be like that. It used to be you could just walk into any tournament with a camera and film whatever the hell you wanted, because YouTube was still a burgeoning thing at the time. It was still an emerging medium, and live streaming on Twitch wasn't a thing. So the point the guy's trying to make is completely irrelevant, because it's not even the right time frame. He's trying to make a point about today that wouldn't apply to something that happened 8-9 years ago.
But that doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you were taking, if going off Phil's premise, you were taking other people's intellectual property and putting it onto this burgeoning medium and making money off of it. That's basically what you were doing. Which is funny, because isn't that what you accuse other people of doing? So you did it years before. So it's ironic, and it's karma in a lot of ways, that you fucked over people and made money off people's backs without them knowing until you got ran out. And now Phil Burnell is mad that it's being done to him. That's basically what the whole point of this whole argument comes down to. Just saying. And we're talking about from a community that he shows no interest, at least on the surface, shows no interest on wanting to be a part of. Despite the fact that any of his real accolades are allegedly over there. Not on YouTube. YouTube, he's been swamped out. Twitch, he's a joke. You know what I'm saying? Bad Bunny is going to be one of many who are going to make a nice couple $1,000s a month off Phil. It's going to be an active trend. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be an active trend. Now, here's where things become important. If Bad Bunny can do what she's doing and continue to move forward without any problems, there is no reason why They Call Me Tex, under his original name, not his new name, but under his original name, Bill Purnell and Almighty Tevin can't be put back on on Twitch. There's no reason why these three individuals and the 4 channels in between them can't go back on Twitch if Bad Bunny can keep doing what she's doing. And there's no problem. I have no issue with what she's doing, and none of us should. But I'm saying is what she's doing allegedly got these 3 individuals kicked off. There's no reason why their accounts can't be restored. Just saying. So if anybody wanted to try to start a movement about that on Twitter, just saying, you have some grounds for stuff. Just throwing it out there.
You know, you have to have intelligence in your head to know that, and he didn't. He couldn't even formulate his insult in a way that made sense, so
butthurt and so defensive. This is fucking great. I can't believe it. Yummy yum yums. Cheers said, please do not attack your viewers. Oh, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not attacking viewers at all. That's not what I'm getting at. These are people who are trying to insult me and can't even fucking formulate an English sentence, which is hilarious. So, alright. It's salty as fuck. It's like pure salt. All you could taste was salt. You couldn't taste anything else.
Someone named Webby tipped me $1. And apparently this is probably a meme that I'm not aware of. They said, I joined some guy's lobby in Call of Duty and he started crying. I have no idea what that's a reference to, but thank you.
You're lying because you're chuckling at it. If it wasn't something that was familiar to you, you wouldn't find a need to chuckle about it. Just saying. Well, no, he knows what it is. I'm pretty confident he knows what it is. He may not know who Webby is, right? Or he may not know the lore behind that, but he certainly understands the meme of the crying over Call of Duty. Phil knows who that is. He's watched the Wings of Redemption compilations. Now, before we actually finish up, before we part ways for today, I'm actually not done just yet. First off, thank you very much to Snort Burnell for coming through with the laughs as usual. Now, this is what I do have for you. I'd like to take you guys back to May 4th of 2010. There we go.
So what do I mean when I say all 3 channels? Well, the plan here is to specialize content on each channel to cater to the audience. So for example, if you're really into Street Fighter like I am, and you want to see me continue to play Super Street Fighter 4, continue to practice for Super Battle Opera, and play Super Turbo with my friends, then you're going to want to go to the channel DSP Street Fighter. It's been up for several weeks now. It's very successful. In fact, in this first week of release of Super Street Fighter 4, the channel has pretty much been in the top 100 most viewed on YouTube every single day. In fact, the other day I think it was number 5 most viewed on YouTube, which is insane. I mean, my Darksydephil channel, the highest I've ever gotten, was number 3 most viewed on YouTube. So a new channel like that, to be that high up and that most highly viewed in just the first week is amazing. So again, I thank you, the fans, for doing that. But anyway, some other things that will be, it's not just going to be, you know, tournament footage and things like that for Street Fighter. You're going to see casual matches with my friends. You're going to see joystick tutorials, which, by the way, there's a tutorial up on this joystick basically explaining all about it, and all kinds of other joysticks that are now available on the market. You might be interested in that if you're into Super Street Fighter 4. There's going to be training videos. There's going to be techniques like character tutorials for games like Super Street Fighter 4. I'm planning on doing those just like I did for Street Fighter 4 last year. And pretty much I just want to get as much Street Fighter related content as I can on that channel. The reason I'm doing it on its own channel is, unfortunately, when you do play that kind of game, you might have a couple matches that are 2 or 3 minutes long, and so you end up with a lot of videos. We're talking maybe 30 videos in one sitting, and a lot of people just don't like that much spamming their inbox. So if you are into that, subscribe to DSP Street Fighter, and if you haven't checked it out, go over there right now and check it out. That's where all the new Street Fighter footage is going. But what about...
Okay, so the reason why I showed you guys this, right, is that piece of video came from Darksydephil's Return of the King. This is after he lost the Darksydephil channel, and he was able to get it back. But because of the situations basically swarming around it, he had to, he basically took Darksydephil and broke off into 3 other channels. I'll explain to you guys in just a second. Okay, so this is how it works. When Phil lost the Darksydephil channel, when it actually was taken away and whatnot, he was finally able to get it back, so on and so forth. It's a long story that I've already gone over. Basically what happens is once he gets the channel back, he ends up deciding to... He realizes that the Darksydephil channel is basically tainted because he still had like 2 copyright strikes from 2 other situations that he didn't have resolved yet. So what he decided to do was, okay, I'm gonna use the King of Hate vlogs and I'm gonna put my vlog stuff, trips and stuff over there. I'm going to do DSP Street Fighter for all of his Street Fighter footage, and tournament footage was supposed to go on there. We'll get to that in a second. And then that's what, and then the 3rd channel was basically the birth of DSP Gaming. He did that to try to insulate himself, to basically protect himself as best he could. And at that time, I think Phil was boasting that he already had 7,000 videos already on YouTube. Insane amount, just insane. Okay, so DSP Street Fighter. Everything that you just heard him say, match footage with his friends, training for tournaments, Super Battle Opera, so on and so forth. But also some tournament footage. I think that was going to be the hub for all that tournament footage, if he could have kept it going. Now, Phil wasn't completely stupid. He also ended up getting cool with some individuals to give him a bit more installation so he could keep doing what he was doing. Now, what he was hoping was DSP Street Fighter was going to make enough money so he could continue to travel to tournaments, get footage, enter a couple of those tournaments, and so on and so forth. Basically, it was going to pay, DSP Street Fighter was going to pay for itself in this very interesting circle of gout and stolen content, if you will. So that's kind of the situation and the plans behind that. Now, if he could have made it work in the long term, he would have gotten away with it. Now, let me explain. He ended up getting cool with Team Spooky. That was Spooky, Nerd Josh, Arturo Sanchez, Dick Wolf. There's a bunch of other guys too. There's a few other people that are part of that group, but that was basically Team Spooky. If you actually watched Almighty Tevin's retrospective stream going over his FGC and some of his tournament footage, you actually see them in a bit of a vlog. He's having a conversation with them in a hotel room, they're talking it up and so on and so forth. And Phil's recording all of that. But Phil was probably going around that tournament, going ahead and filming too. He's probably not telling anybody that, oh, I'm cool with Team Spooky, or I'm doing the footage for Team Spooky, but since they're seeing him, since they see Spooky and they see him hanging with Spooky and some of these other guys, they're thinking, okay, well, Spooky's the one who's doing all the streaming, because he was like one of the first people to really start streaming seriously and turn it into a profession. And then commentary, and then he eventually got into tournament organizing. Team Spooky still orchestrates a weekly tournament, or a weekly locals. I think it's called Super Battle. It's called Battle Circuit. It's held in New York. I think they hold it every Wednesday. And then, as you know, on the West Coast, you have Wednesday night fights. So basically, Battle Circuit's the East Coast version of that. I think, to be honest, I think Spooky ended up actually starting that first, but it wasn't called Battle Circuit. It was called something else. Either which way. So everybody knew Spooky was streaming and was doing some recording and so on and so forth. So that was a nice little blanket for Phil to slide up under to catch his footage and then put that on the channel. Because like I said before, he can take all that footage and throw it up on his channel before anybody else is even aware. And after what you just heard from DSP Street Fighter and how popular the channel was becoming, even starting to beat out some of his older channels, you're telling me he wouldn't throw Street Fighter footage on there and collect the money off of that and then use that to invest back into his tournament travels? I'm just throwing that out there, ladies and gentlemen. It's a thing. It can happen. As crazy as it might seem, it can happen. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the situation behind that. So I just wanted to throw that little bit at you to kind of give you an idea of what he was plotting back in those days. And he might have been able to get away with it at least for a little while. But sadly, it all came to an end. Mainly because he was greedy. He was super fucking greedy. And maybe if he was a little bit transparent with these dudes, they may have not have cared. You know, a lot of these dudes weren't up on YouTube that seriously anyway. At least not for Street Fighter 4, despite the fact that a lot of people built their channels off Street Fighter 4 for the FGC and whatnot. And a lot of the really good players started their own individual channels for those reasons. So eventually he was going to get caught up, but it's neither here nor there. And I'm making assumptions on a lot of that. Like I said, a lot of that is woulda, coulda, shoulda. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. Like I said, I hope you guys' weekend goes well. Remember, the retrospective stream is tomorrow. Tevin, Dark Dave Mirrors, or LSB and Rocky. So check out one of those three channels, if not all three. Show your support to all three of them. They'll all very much appreciate it. Also, check out DSP Sucks YouTube channel and Lip Jan's YouTube channel. The link to both of those will be in my directory and in my description. You'll find them. And go ahead and check out the channels and whatnot. Show your support there, as to all the other detractors on that list, and the list is going to continue to grow. So if there's anybody that you feel that I need to add, let me know and I'll check them out, and then we can get them added on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna let you guys go. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News, always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on at GTG Network and Productions. For the Snort Report, I am your host / anchor GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves and have a good weekend. End of broadcast.